Welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart. I own over 300 fragrances, and these 6 are my best. Notice I said best and not my favorites. It's not going to help you, me talking about my favorite fragrances, because I have my own biases and my own style. And how I determined best was 3 categories. First of all, scent quality. Is it a really good quality scent? Not synthetic? Performance, longevity, and projection? And then finally, general popularity. Now, there is a fragrance on this list that's from an obscure house, not super popular, but it should be. Price on this list is irrelevant, except for one category. And the one category, there was a tie. It was best inexpensive fragrance. That's the only category where price comes into play. There are 4 other categories, including best warm weather, best cool weather, best niche, and best overall designer. These 6 are all exceptional fragrances. Fragrance number 1 is Prada Luna Rossa Carbon, and this is my best fresh fragrance. And when it comes to the Dior Sauvage DNA, I'm a big fan of it, although not specifically this fragrance, but just the DNA, which is a combination of ambroxan, which is fresh, a little bit ambery, a little bit animalic, and pepper. Now, Sauvage goes heavily in on the pepper, 3 different kinds of pepper to emphasize the freshness. What they do here is they focus on the smoothness of it. Now, Dylan Blue is a fragrance I've talked a lot about before, and I really do like it, but I do think in terms of quality, and money is no object in this video, this is of higher quality, and it also is more wearable. So you've got the black pepper, you've got the ambroxan, but we also have our metallic notes, which are very smooth. A coal note. Daniela Andrea put that in on purpose. A coal note I thought was meant to be like a little bit of a dirty note. No, apparently it's the minerality of the coal that she likes. And if you've tried ADG Profondo, you'll know that minerality smoothes out the fragrance. So the minerality is smooth. The metallic notes are smooth, and then Prada's lavender is famous for being smooth. 3 smooth elements that make this an easy wear. The performance isn't quite as good as Sauvage, but it's still very, very solid, and it will get you compliments. One other bonus to this fragrance, this, at least among perfumers and perfume experts, they use this to layer. If you've got a leather fragrance that you like, but it's a bit harsh, or an oud fragrance that does the same, this is a perfect fragrance to layer it, because this fragrance smooths out some of the bad parts of Sauvage, and it'll do the same for your leather or oud fragrances. Fragrance number 2 is my best cool weather fragrance, and I'm going with Jean Paul Gaultier Le Malle Le Parfum. About a month ago, I probably would have gone with this, but I've been wearing it a lot lately, and even though I love the sweetness in this, it's a bit different than some of the other sweet fragrances, I find that for whatever reason, the projection starts to get to me. I smell that sweetness after 3 hours, and I'm like, okay, enough. It's just a little bit too sweet for me, especially in the long run. Love it off the top, but I get tired of it. That does not happen here. This was meant to be a more sophisticated vanilla. In fact, the black, Jean Paul Gaultier is famous for the tuxedo, and the black here is a tuxedo. And so they specifically designed the vanilla to be a classier vanilla as compared to, and this is Jean Paul Gaultier himself, he did not like the bubblegum nature of the vanilla in the original Le Malle, and so they sourced the vanilla for this from a very different location, which is Papua New Guinea, and apparently the vanilla there is smokier, and it's a little bit more resinous, so it's not bubblegum vanilla in this, and that allows the aromatic notes, the cardamom, the lavender, and the oriental notes to surface, and then you get that really nice blend of spiciness. Luna Rossa is a smoother wear, and this is a smoother wear. And so it's my best. Fragrance number 3 is my best niche fragrance. It is Musc Ravageur by Frederic Malle, and this one wasn't close. The perfumer for this fragrance is a pugnacious little provocateur by the name of Maurice Roussel, who goes very much under the radar when it comes to perfumers, but he is no joke. So the original formula that he had for this, he took to Shiseido in the late 90s. They're a Japanese designer house, and they smelled it, and they're like, no way, this is way too daring. So Roussel took the formula back and added musk to it and made it more animalic, and then took it to Frederic Malle, which was a niche house, probably going to be more receptive to that kind of provocation. And they went with it, and the rest is history. And Roussel has described this fragrance as being a wolf in a tuxedo. The tuxedo part is very clean and very nice. You got a beautiful sweetness. It's vanilla, amber, and tonka, some cinnamon, and then a really expensive orris to flatten it out a little bit. That's the tuxedo. But the wolf, the wolf is animalic notes, cloves, musk, and guaiac wood. So it's like a schizophrenic fragrance. It's got the bad and the good, the wolf and the tuxedo. Marilyn Manson is noted as wearing this, and Sarah Jessica Parker, who, if you're not aware, is the #1 celebrity frag head out there. She described this as New York after midnight, if you know what I mean. Fragrances number 4 and 5 are my best inexpensive fragrances. This is the best inexpensive fragrance for warm weather, and the next one will be best for cool weather. This is Une Histoire d'Homme Irresistible from the house of Mauboussin. And this is a $25 fragrance that is completely original. Now, when it comes to inexpensive fragrances, pretty much 40 and under, almost all of them are copying something. Whether they're a clone or whether they're just an inexpensive fragrance, that's what they're doing. They're getting their own slight take. This is a completely original fragrance. It is very classy, and it is extremely good, especially if you like woody fragrances. So this is a woody fig. It's a little bit green. Oddly enough, fig, which is a fruity note, comes off as green in perfumery. So it's a woody green fragrance. So we've got that fig, that green fig. It's actually fig leaf in this case. And then you've got cedar and sandalwood. There's a little bit of bergamot in here, but it is very classy, very smooth. Now, it's not a perfect fragrance. The performance, once it has macerated, it's about 5 hours in terms of longevity, and the projection is a couple of feet, which is what you would expect from a woody fragrance. However, when I first got this, the fragrance was really thin. So this is one that you will need to spray. And I think it's about 2 to 4 weeks it matured. And it went from being like a 2-hour fragrance to at least 4 hours. And it's got better over time. This, 5 hours is fine. The $25 price tag is crazy. I like the bottle. The atomizer isn't great. You're going to have little niggly things when you're dealing with a $25 fragrance. But one of the best buys you can get in perfumery, especially if you like woody fragrances. Fragrance number 5 is Rochas Moustache. And this is a tie with Mauboussin, but this one is slightly better quality, but it's also a little bit more expensive. And when you're talking about inexpensive fragrances, price is important. So for 75 milliliters here, it's $34. So you're paying more to get a little bit less. But as I said, quality is a little bit better. And I always wondered about the quality of this fragrance because I have a lot of Rochas fragrances and I like them. But in terms of performance, they're not always great. The performance here is like 6 hours. So again, a little bit better performance in terms of longevity than the previous fragrance. And I always wondered, why is this so much better performing than all the other Rochases? I realized it's because the Moustache fragrance line goes all the way back to 1949. Now, back then it was a different style of fragrance. It was a citrus aromatic, a barbershop style fragrance that was actually used in Paris. If you went to the barbershop in the 50s, good chance if after a shave, they would put some of the original Rochas on your face. Now, this has been updated. This is 2018 version. It's sweeter, and this one now is compared more to something like YSL Tuxedo, although it is not exactly the same. The vanilla here is sweeter than Tuxedo, and when it comes to that rose note, it's listed here, but I've never been able to pick it up, whereas it's very evident within Tuxedo. So they are slightly different fragrances. Now, the vanilla note here is different. They were specifically going for a creme brulee feel, and that is burnt caramel. So the vanilla here is a little bit darker. This also has benzoin, cedar, and patchouli. It's a very pleasant fragrance. It is always, from the minute I got it, I mean, the presentation is good too. It's always been one of my favorite inexpensive fragrances of all time. Fragrance number 6 is Dior Homme Parfum, and this to me is the best overall designer fragrance in my collection. And if you watch a channel, you know that I really do like it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's certainly up there. It is a leather fragrance with so many other facets. So it is kind of a dark leather, but there's a lot of iris in this as well. Then you've got the ambrette, which is a bit creamy. You've got oud and orange. There's a little bit of rose there. There's a little bit of everything here. You get different facets at different times. The performance is absolutely nuts, anywhere from 12 to 16 hours on my skin. But it's not a perfect fragrance. This is not a versatile fragrance. I don't think it would work well in any kind of warm weather. I think the cooler, the better. Just a phenomenal fragrance. And yeah, I do believe these are my 6 best fragrances, although there are a couple that if you talk to me next week, I mean, this kind of thing always changes, but yeah, spent a lot of time working this out, and hopefully enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.